Sorry, everybody. Citizens, it's that time. You are officially in the incinerator. Welcome to Midday Mania, the midday live streams that we do from time to time here on the Alert Zone TV. I'm your host, the Wizard, Uncle James. I would love for you guys and girls to become active citizens. Y'all already know how to do that. Shout out to everybody because this is a worldwide movement. As you come in, make sure you hit the like button. Also, I want to thank everybody that has been supporting the channel. These live streams, they starting to become more and more dope. Even if we do 30 minutes, an hour, as I told you guys and girls last night, I'm thinking about some nights trying to pull a 2 or 3 hour. Start with one particular topic and kind of expand, definitely. But I hope everybody's having a good day wherever you are on this planet, because this is a worldwide movement, so we worldwide. It is noon here in Central Standard Time. In the state of Iowa, it's noon. I know it's lunch hour for a lot of y'all that's out at work, so shout out to y'all. Give everybody a couple minutes to pile up in the room like we always do. Definitely. So, just sitting here, just chilling. Got a couple things going on behind. So, decide I'll go ahead on since I'm home right now and get this live stream, get it out the way. Yeah, so hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody continue to do well. Hope everybody's safe out there. Also, I want to say to the people out in, it was that Milwaukee or up in Wisconsin that just had those floods recently. Shout out to y'all. I hope y'all get better. Okay, all right. Waiting for Frozen Trail to get unloaded. Shout out to all the truckers out there. Definitely, you guys and girls not only keep America moving, but you keep the planet moving. We always talk about the American trucker, but it's the worldwide trucker. You guys and girls might have seen the footage. I don't know if I posted it from about 2 years ago in Mexico City of all the trucks out there. So we got pause and play in the building. Make sure y'all hit that likes button. I'm just gonna do a midday mania, and I think this is gonna be a very interesting take. Hold on, everybody. Hello. Yeah, I'm live for you. Oh, you want to fly for me? All right. Can y'all hold for 1 minute, everybody? Hold on, everybody. Give me a minute. Yeah, what's happening for your birthday? Okay. Yeah, just hang tight. I'm up. Ask her for Sorry about that, everybody. Definitely a really important call that came in. Hold on. Sorry, everybody. All right, let's go ahead on. Like I was saying, shout out to all the truckers worldwide. we keep the world going. So let's get into it. Trump and the National Guard in DC, and why I decided to talk about this. If you new to the channel, we got over 800 wonderful pieces of information here that you guys and girls need to check out. I talked about this because I've been watching the narrative and I've just been paying attention, and a lot of people have said, you know, just he picked DC because it's majority black, and this is about targeting black cities and this and this and that. I don't know a whole lot about Washington, D.C. I've been there a couple times. I didn't go explore like I wanted to, but I have been to some of the monuments and things in D.C. But for the crime, for the things that's going on, we had this happen in New Orleans, see? And that's why I decided to talk about this. In New Orleans back in, who was it, 96, 97, something like that, 98? Yeah, we had the National Guard all over the city because it was so rough. It was so bad. And they needed the National Guard to help calm down a lot of the crime that was going on. Now, the difference with us in New Orleans was we had the National Guard in town, but we also had a police chief that made it clear until he took care of his corrupt cops on his force, this problem wasn't going to go away. Now, I'm not sure about the DC police and what type of guys and girls they are, but I want to break this down from the perspective of a person who's been through the National Guard being in your city to help combat crime rate. Yeah, that was Richard Pennington. To me, this is my personal opinion. Richard Pennington was the best police chief we ever had in New Orleans while I lived there, because he was the first one to make it clear we can't combat crime with the Lynn Davises and the Antoinette Franks on the force. We can't combat crime like that. This goes more into law enforcement than a lot of y'all are going to be willing to admit. Let me make this clear, because I want everybody to understand this. Law enforcement at one time, and I'm sure it's still the same, was comprised, and when I say law enforcement, I mean all the agencies around the country together, was 90% white male. Most cops in this country, most people in law enforcement, the highest percentage is overwhelmingly white males. Why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up for a particular reason. You can't police a group of people that you don't have anything in common with. Nah, I got an instant going. But anyhow, so let me get back to what I was saying. So, these police departments, it says a lot about a police department in everybody's eyes that the National Guard had to come in. And it says a lot about law enforcement. See? And that's what I want everybody to think about. There's more to this. This is not just an indictment on the crime. This is an indictment on the police department. Now, for people like me that binge watch cops all the time, if you always pay attention to cops, there's always stories where they stop people and say this person just came out of a known drug house. This person just came out of a area that's known for narcotics. They know, believe me, law enforcement know who's involved with a lot of this criminal activity. But as I always say, we can always talk about other countries, but here in America, we just gotta lay it down. You can't have the crime that you have and police not be involved. Let me give you guys an example. Brother Malcolm talked about this back in the 60s. How are we gonna be the most police community and be represented as having the most criminals. If you've never lived in the hood, I'm gonna speak about New Orleans, because I know it's not only to New Orleans, but I'm gonna point this out about New Orleans. When we grew up, there was times every other car that passed you was a damn cop car. And all the projects in New Orleans, for those of you who don't know, they had that community policing shit that came out in the 90s. Every project had a damn police substation inside of it. So how can you get out and do the things you do while law enforcement sit there if they're not a part of it? Because I know a lot of people from the outside that never had to deal with this, you may not understand this. But I'm breaking this down so you guys and girls can understand. There's more on the line. People keep pointing out Donald Trump is doing this because he's a racist and blah, blah, blah. He's picking majority black cities. And I'm pointing out something that a lot of you that's never grown up in a hood, and hood means black, you don't know these things. You may not be aware of them. That's why I'm teaching that to you. We had community policing. Go back and look at the mafia movies, the cartel movies, all the black drug movies, and there was always one person or one group of people that was in the movies that everybody overlooked. There was always dirty cops involved. You can't traffic in 300 keys of cocaine a month and law enforcement not be involved. It don't happen like that. For those of you guys and girls who don't know, after you see this live stream, I want you to go to YouTube. There was a story of a DEA agent that got 10 or 15 years in prison for drug trafficking. His parents came out and said that they didn't feel like he was a drug dealer because that was his job, and he just decided to take his job into his personal life. But what I'm telling you is, he got sentenced because law enforcement is involved in crime way more than you think they are. I don't care what part of this country or this world you go to, you can't have organized crime without cops. You can go look at all the Goodfellas you want. You can go and look at American Gangster. You can go look at any mafia, for people who speak Spanish, and watch these novellas about these cartels and what. You can't have this type of stuff without law enforcement being involved. We, as Americans, we can't sit here and talk about Mexican law enforcement because Mexico is a country that we tend to point out their corruption because we neighbor Mexico and Canada. We don't know a lot about Canada. We can't talk about the corrupt Mexican police if we can't talk about the corrupt cops we got here in America. And this is pointing out to it because I want you to think about that. Okay, all right, you can have a good one. You can have a good one. We appreciate you stopping by anyway. You say you're out. But this thing with the National Guard coming in, I know it's meant to be a deterrent and an intimidant, but I'm just telling you because we went through this in New Orleans, how all this got started. And as Richard Pennington called in for the National Guard to come help him, more and more cops started getting indicted. That's a part of this that a lot of y'all may not know. Yeah, and I mean, I'm not here to beat up on law enforcement. I'm not here to beat up on nobody. I'm shedding light on something because I've been watching the narrative. And this says a lot that the National Guard has to be brought into D.C. I know it's being racialized, but I'm telling you it goes beyond that. And I'm telling you because I lived it. I lived it in my late teens and early 20s. And I was in my late teens when this happened. I lived it. I saw it. For some of y'all who don't know, some of y'all who don't live in places where every other car, when you a kid, you wonder. Every other car is a cop car, but how so much stuff keep going on? A lot of it is a partnership. It's just that simple. If it wasn't, you wouldn't have these Alabama. What was that? I want to say Hope, but I could be wrong. Somebody correct me in the comment section. You just had a whole police department get dismantled because they was all trafficking methamphetamine. They were running a criminal enterprise, and all of them was cops. That whole little small town, they took them all to damn prison. So the news is going to make it seem like he's targeting DC and Chicago and all these places that's majority black because it's about racism. I'm pointing out another part of the equation that a lot of people I know, because I've been to basically 46 out of 48 states in the continental US, and I've seen this. And I know this is not exclusive to New Orleans. A lot of different places around this country where they say, quote unquote, is the hood and is all the crime and it's the problem. Every other damn cop car every other damn car coming down the street is a cop car. Let's just be honest. And the majority of these cops are white. I'm just pointing out a fact that may or may not offend you, but I'm just pointing this stuff out. Because I want you to just don't look at what you see on TV. I want you to open your mind. You cannot have the level of criminality without everybody being involved. Everybody getting something out of this. Now, I say this. If you don't want the National Guard in your town, in your city, why don't you get all the law-abiding citizens to go out there and get legally armed? These violent crimes wouldn't happen. Yeah. I'll get to Chicago in just a minute. These violent crimes and all that's going on, all these carjackings and all this carrying on going on, wouldn't be going on if these guys was afraid of being shot. That's the problem. They're not afraid of anything happening to them because most people still running around here talking about 911 and ain't nothing gonna happen to them because I'm in a part of town where this don't happen. I've told you guys and girls, crime is on the move. Crime has always been on the move. The internet is just exposing that it's in all communities. The news used to make it seem like it was just in one community. If you didn't go to one part of town, you was okay. Eric and Lau Menendez broke that. They was pulling home burglaries and home invasions right there in that little rich area that they grew up. People commit crimes in close to proximity. For those of you who don't know, 98% of the crimes committed against Asians is by other Asians. Just so you guys know that. That's a recent stat. But this is what happens. Now, Chicago. We known about law enforcement corruption now. I see I only got 2 likes. I know what that means. I'm about to be shadow banned again by YouTube. YouTube ain't gonna recommend this because I'm just pointing something out. Yeah, I mean, let's just break this. Let's use common sense here, people. The Jussie Smollett thing. The Jussie Smollett thing. You know, I live here in Iowa. Let me tell you something. If you don't have to go to work, when them polar vortexes hit, people do not come outside. If up here, those polar vortexes are way colder than they are in the south. Nobody's gonna be out on the fucking street at no 2, 3 o'clock in the morning looking for no subway when it's minus 40 degrees outside. And yet they was able to catch 2 foreigners in this hoax before they skipped the country. For you guys and girls who haven't saw, they sell these. There's a video here on YouTube of a government agent talking about the synthetic mask and gloves and arms that they make, where you can go into certain communities and be of a totally different ethnicity and blend right on in. And she said sometime we would do that to do this and do that. So all these unsolved crimes, the assumption is that it's somebody from that neighborhood because people commit crimes close to proximity. That's the assumption. But throughout the years, you've had people be caught for these crimes and not even be from that area. I remember here recently, or was it last year, out there in LA, where they was talking about the dudes from the hood started patrolling the community because all them smash and grabs, that was people coming from the other side of town doing it. And that they was like, hey, it was on the news, it made national news. We gonna get the blame for this, but that's not people from around here doing that. That's people coming into this community to commit these smash and grabs and all that, and then they leave, and then we have to take the charge for this crap. So, the National Guard coming in, like I said, people gonna racialize it. The news is gonna push the whole racial element. I'm just saying, as somebody that went through it, there's more layers to it that you're not gonna, if you don't open your mind, you won't ever think about, because you'll only see what you see on the news. And the news, you know, they only flash certain crimes, is what I'm saying. And what I'm saying is there's more to it. There's layers to this. Donald Trump just didn't wake up yesterday and decide he was going to activate the National Guard. I'm pretty sure they do that for all protests through. He didn't just wake up and decide this. I'm going to give him, and saying from the experience I had, I think there was more people that publicly won't say they in support of this, that are in support of this. And I think people in law enforcement reached out. Now, here's the problem. And it's been a problem. And I'm just opening your eyes. You can do your own research and come up with your own conclusions. I just want to open your mind. The blue wall of silence.
I don't think so.
The blue wall of silence is a big reason that this is going on.
She's sleeping. You don't wake her up.
And
She's sleeping? Yeah, she's sleeping. Don't wake her up.
hold on. Oh, I'm sorry. Just hang tight, Stephanie. I'm gonna come get you. You heard me, Stephanie?
Yeah.
I'm gonna come get you. Hang tight. Sorry about that, everybody. I really am. This turned out to be an interrupted midday madness. I might have to do a part 2 to this shit. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm gonna do a part 2 to this. Let me go ahead and stop this. Give me about 20-25 minutes, and I'll be back on here, everybody. Y'all just bear with me. I'm sorry, something came up. I gotta go make a quick run. I'll be right back. We're gonna do a part 2 to this.